You ready?
Basically, just like staying regimented and the discipline in order to like stay on the correct path on where you want to go.
Yeah, I mean, my shit's been like ever evolving. My process is ever evolving. I mean,
I was gonna say it's like I feel like it's like almost doing you an injustice if you look too far down the road, right?
oh my God, yeah. I mean, I
When I hear end goal, it's like who knows what your end goal
when
is gonna be.
people, I don't, I mean, literally, I'd say like 5 years ago, I stopped even thinking about
That's
like,
a common way of thinking, though. I think we're taught to think
what's your
that way.
5-year plan? You know, where are you going to be 5 years from now? Like, what the fuck? I don't know where I'm going to be 5 days from now. You know what I mean?
I mean, forget that end goal. Like people think, what's your end goal?
Yeah, yeah. But I'm
Like,
saying,
how can
even
you ever
like,
how can you ever know what your
I
end
mean,
goal is?
I am so different than what I was a year ago, really. And what I'll be in 5 years, 10 years, I mean, who knows? I just, it's evolved to answer his question. I mean, who knows how old he is, but you know, as I've gotten older, the answers change, you know, and like changing your mind on something is something, and I think Gary Vee put it this way, but it's just like changing your mind, being able to change your mind is like a superpower, you know, because you're not tied. Most people get into problems in their lives and in conversation and in relationships when they're tied to, you know, they're tied to their opinions. They're attached to like, oh, this is how I believe. This is what I think. This is what I want to do, you know? I've actually like, my biggest breakthrough was letting go. I mean, I'm a big don't
Well,
try
that comes
guy.
with setting expectations, right? Like I don't think you should ever set expectations. For
Yeah,
anything.
like I'm constantly walking the line of being a hard worker, you know, and hardly working, you know. Like I really do believe in like, you know, finding that number one issue is finding what you're passionate about, and no one can give you advice on that. The one piece of advice I can give you is just like, where does your heart take you when you have nothing to do and no one's around? Like you have to start going from a boy to a man. Like you start putting more of your energy on like who you want to become versus what you want to do right in this moment, you know? And I think that's part of it too. Like there's really no right or wrong answer. I stayed regimented because I didn't want to lose, you know? Maybe that came from sports. I also, you know, I had a decent amount of awareness to realize I had an opportunity, and I, you know, I'd stumbled upon a second chance with like being able to make music, and it just kind of happened for me, you know? So look, I totally understand that doesn't happen for most people, and finding your purpose is like it's one of the existential crises that most humans deal with, like on a general scale. People, you know, what am I here for? Like it's hard. And I'll leave it with this, like purpose and knowing your place and where you're supposed to be. I actually think you zoom out of that perspective. Like all the things that we preach about is about zooming out of this stuff on this like linear plane that we're on, and actually just be like, look, man, my purpose is being the best I can be. Like holding the door for the woman, being kind to people in any chance you can, putting your best foot forward, even if you don't have a job or a clear path to a great life or something figured out where you're like, right, it's very easy to be a nice person when you're afloat, you know, you're going downstream and everything's going your way. But what I'm saying is like a lot of people they throw what's my purpose into the mix of stresses they have, and it's just another one of the things that stress you out. You know what I mean? Another one of the things that's actually blocking you from fucking finding your purpose is adding that stress of what's my purpose.
So are you saying like more so let it happen rather than look for it?
I mean, that's my number one answer on this in general. Now, look, there's a balance. Like there's a balance of, look, you fuck around all day and you do whatever you want for short-term desires, it's probably not going to lead you to your purpose. You start working on yourself, you start reading, you start doing all the things we talk about. I'm serious. I genuinely feel like you raise your frequency and then think you're on a higher vibration. You're actually like better opportunities come your way, you know? So for him, he's saying like, I don't know how to establish my purpose or what I'm supposed to be doing. I mean, I think that's a normal part of life. Like, I really do. I think it's a normal part of life. And the people who figure themselves out internally, start working on themselves, start progressing internally, albeit your health, your mental, your physical health, your outlooks, you know, growing your mind, all of that stuff is part of the process of landing in your purpose. It is. The people who find their purpose, I don't believe it's an accident. You know what I mean? I really don't. It's about cultivating yourself to be able to receive, you know, what the universe gives you. And like a lot of times your purpose is behind door number 16. You had to walk through 15 before that, you know?
Yeah. I don't think we're really set up to, I don't think we're set up to be in an environment where we can like accurately figure out what we want to do. And if you think about it, like if you do decide to go to the path of college, which a lot of people do, you got to pick a major.
Yeah.
And you're picking a major at the age of,
Absolutely.
at what, 18 years old?
It's idiotic.
It's idiotic. So like it's, you know, changing majors, like that's not a weird thing because like what if you choose something when you're 18 years old when like you don't know shit about shit?
No, it's literally
you have
idiotic.
zero life experience and maybe you're not on these frequencies that you're talking about right now because
No.
most 18-year-olds are
They're
not.
not, yeah.
And you're picking this focus that you spend, you know, all this money and all this time on. By the time you're out of it, you feel like you don't even like it, you don't even love it. You just spend all that time and all that money.
Yeah.
So then you feel like you're almost obligated to follow that through because you spend all this time and all this money on it. And then I feel like you chase a path that you're not really that passionate about.
100%.
And then obviously the money's a factor too. People feel like, you know, I have to support myself. I have to have a job. I have to live on my own by the age of 22, 23, which a lot of people, you know, I mean, they have to do that regardless. But
I talk about ideologies more because everything's case by case.
yeah,
It's just like ideologies and approaches and things to open your mind to, you know, like part of me thinks like, look, man, when you're that age, you're 20, fucking have fun with it. Like my biggest thing is like I said, stressing purpose is kind of a man-made construct. Your purpose is to be here. You're alive.
right.
You know what I mean? Be present. That Alan Watts quote, like I posted, it was just like, try not to measure your days by level of productivity, but level of awareness. Be there. You know, like your purpose is there, being there for your mom when she needs you, being there for your companion, you know, being there for your coworkers, whatever. Because guess what? The more you're present in every scenario, the more you're going to get fed better opportunities. Like, oh, you know what? That dude, John, he's always like your coworkers. One of your coworkers gets the raise. You know what I mean? Who knows? All I'm saying is like, when you you really take it down at the basic level, be present, be aware. And I actually really I don't think it's like crazy to go to school and enjoy yourself and fuck around and have fun and have experiences, you know? Like, I don't think it should be like when he mentioned, like, I think this generation has their priorities wrong. There's probably a lot of validity to that statement. But I do think there's such a thing as like being a kid, having that phase. Like, I wouldn't have wanted to think like this when I was that young. I really don't. Like, there's the ignorance is bliss thing where it's just like you're just a dumb kid and you really are present. Like you're really not thinking about the future that much. I think there's beauty in that too. And if that's you, like that's okay, you know? Nowadays you go on anywhere, you look online, like you kind of get pulled every which way. Everyone has an opinion about something. You should be doing this. 75 days sober, all these things. Like, look, there's, you know, it's a case by case thing, but don't like punish yourself if you're not that guy who wakes up at 6 a.m., you're 21, you wake up before class and get workouts in. And,
Right.
you know, like there is a period of life where I think it's beautiful to be in flow and just go with the wind, you know? And I think there's actually a lot of growth opportunity in that, even if it's more long-term.
But so let's skip ahead. Let's say you do find your passion and you want to excel at it. And, you know, when you do spend time on it, it gets your rocks off and you are present and you do enjoy it while you do it. When you started getting into music and you said you had that drive, I mean, what was that experience like for you?
It was really dope. I mean, it was invigorating.
Like what got you out of bed every day?
It was invigorating. It was a shot. You know, if I really think back to my values, then I was just trying to find a way to like, my whole goal, my whole life was like getting out of this small town, making my family proud, making the money to be able to take care of them forever and take care of my friends and do what I want. So, you know, it was ironic, and I still am financially driven for sure. I definitely, the aspects of capitalism, like I co-sign and I love it. You know, I think it's dope. I think it's a dope aspect of being alive. Back then, getting out of bed was more about that and like just the excitement of it, you know, like it was just so fresh and new and you know, feeling like I had a second chance coming off a pretty tough break. You know, I thought it was bad. It ended up being a good thing. You know, I got hurt, but coming off that, it was just super exciting, and I was reinvigorated immediately, and it was easy to go to work. You know, now like, I mean, I kind of feel the same way, but it's just about different things. You know, I spend my days. I definitely spend my days a lot more, you know, kind of at peace. Like I really do. You know, back then I'd wake up, go, run around, bullshit. Like now I spend a lot of time on myself, trying to put myself in the best vibration that I can, put myself in the best spot, check the boxes of like talking to family, you know, taking a nature walk, mental strengthening in some way, reading, you know, listening to content. Like I do try to do that shit pretty much every day. That's different, you know, and I'm definitely not driven by the money as much as I used to be, you know. I understand we've had financial success for sure, but it's not that same kind of, man, I got to make it and get out of this town type shit. You know, we made it out, and it's really more about being in purpose, being in flow. Like there's something I read every day. Like it's the Dharma. It's just like I'm doing what I'm best at to the best of my ability, and I'm being of service to people. You know, like I think that's like how I kind of set myself where I'm like I am where I'm supposed to be. I don't let that anxiety kind of overtake me, because you know everyone has it. Where you're like, what am I doing? Should I be doing more? You know, I have all those those same thoughts. And really, that's like as a young person, that's the goal. That's the goal, is just to find something that you're good at, and you're doing your best at it, you know?
Since the dawn of time, men have always loved to chug beer. In the old times of Bavaria, the men of Germany would spend their Oktoberfest drinking out of a festive beer stein. In the 1980s, fraternity brothers all over America spent their Greek week pounding beer out of a funnel. And for the last 4 decades, the world went silent. Then came the Chug Bud, the new revolutionary way to chug a beer. With the combination of a beer bong and a shotgun, this drinking device is scientifically proven to help you chug your beer quickly and easily. Oh, and did I mention it fits in your pocket? Go to chugbuds.com and use promo code YNK69 to get 10% off your entire order. That's ChugBuds, ChugBuds.com, and promo code YNK69 to get 10% off your entire order. Chug Bud, your beer just got a new best friend. Say you're going to give advice to this person then. I'm assuming it's a young person. I'm assuming they're, let's say, 22, 23 years old. Would you steer them more towards the mindset you have now, or the mindset that you had back when you were that same age?
Yeah, like, look, it's... He's asking me my mindset, like,
because obviously you guys are in different circumstances.
Yeah,
I mean, you and I are older. You're more like, you know, financially okay now, obviously.
Yeah,
than you were 10 years ago.
Of course.
So I'm sure that your views now on things are a little differently than they were. It's a little less survival mode right now. You know?
Yeah. Like that's kind of what I was gonna say. He's asking my input and what helped me, like. And that was my answer. It was ever evolving. Like it changed drastically. And to be honest, the biggest undertone of my answer was like, I wasn't really trying. Like I was just going with it. I was going for it. I was going with it. And that would be my advice to him. Like I'm sure he's a young man, probably maybe in college or fresh out or whatever. Go for it, go with it. And also like the number one thing, man, is if your vibe is right. I say this a lot. I'm telling you, man, you're gonna find the things that you love faster.
I totally agree.
You're gonna find the things you love faster. If you're stressing, you're holding the wheel too tight, you're not gonna get where you want to go. And a big part of that is just working on yourself. You know, working on yourself the best you can, and an overall positive outlook. You know, gotta work hard. I work hard. Yeah,
but I know, like, when you see people like. I know you always kind of like shit on The Rock for this because he's always working. He's got like 10 movies going on at the same time while he's got an Under Armour deal, while he's doing this, while he's doing that. And then you see people on TV that are like, you got to wake up at 6 a.m. You got to you got to work 12 hours a day. You got to like disappear for 6 months. And I know you're kind of against that kind of mindset. So who would you say there's someone out there right now who's like ideologies on like discipline and work ethic that you like really fuck with?
I mean, Joe Rogan comes to mind. You know, seems to have fun, seems to have a balance. When the time is right, he'll turn up, he'll tell jokes, he'll be serious. He has a general, you know, ideology towards love and just like kind of being understanding of one another, you know, working hard for the things you want. I agree with all that.
Yeah.
McConaughey kind of comes to mind a little bit, more on the spiritual side. I don't know. You know, I'm not like fans of people like that.
No, I know.
I don't really know people's lifestyle like that. I definitely look. I admire The Rock. It just seems I'd rather like it sounds like the most exhausting lifestyle I've ever heard. You know, like what the fuck is he doing?
Yeah.
How do you do that? And why do you still need to be so jacked? And like, how do you work out that much?
I don't know for sure because I never met him, but I have a hunch because I've been a fan for a long time. I think he genuinely is of service to people.
He is.
And I think he's obsessed with that aspect of it.
I mean, yeah, but I guess you could argue movies are, yeah. 100, so yeah, I mean, that's valid. That's valid for sure. I mean, how much money do you need?
No, like, I'm not saying his action movies.
There's no way he's spending.
I'm not saying his action movies are of service to so many people, but I'm saying like his platform. The bigger his platform is, the more service he can.
I agree with
do
that.
For people.
I mean, I can't. I'm not even hating on him. I'm just like how, and I would never. Like, here's what I'm saying.
Oh, believe me, I get it.
I'm just getting more into the spiritual aspect of being alive. I do like that quote I just said. Like, I don't measure your day by productivity. Measure it by awareness, level of awareness. And like, I'm trying to walk in the middle of that, you know? But as time goes on, I just think that there's, you know, I think the world needs to elevate what they're thinking about a little bit more, in the sense of like, it is a miracle to be alive. I never saw it like that. You know, it is like everyone's so in this dimension, like, oh, we're fighting this fucking, the president, oh my God, I love the taxes, the gas, everything. Like, it's just like, yo, it's still amazing. We're on a fucking rock. Like, there's just a spiritual element of like, you don't need to achieve everything under the sun to have a good experience here. In fact, you don't need any of it. You know, you really truly don't. It's you thinking you do is
Can't
making
take it
it a
with
reality. You can't take, you die, you come with nothing, you die with nothing.
Dust in the wind, baby.
And dude, like, I don't think our human minds can really even wrap our heads around what really is happening on the highest level. Like, none of this makes sense. Our bodies, the way they work, anything in the world, it is crazy and magnificent. So like, look, I have mundane days where I'm stuck in this fucking plane. I'm like arguing on the phone business and I like, nowadays, at least most of the time, I could get off the phone, take a step back and be like, shit, man, life is good. My biggest thing on this whole platform is just trying to get people to like, just kind of enjoy being alive. You know what I mean? As in the most realistic, non-hippie way, just like, yo, like really think about it, you know, really think about it. Like, and then I find I've gotten a lot more successful when I stopped trying to be successful. You know, like I find that with a lot of people. Now, that's not a common narrative, like the people online, you know, there's many different sides and many different ways and avenues and versions of success to people, you know? So it's about finding your success. I know some people find someone they love and loves them, and they can pay the rent and they have beautiful children. That was their purpose. My sister's one of those people. She's the happiest I've ever seen her. Just being a mom. Doesn't want anything else. Lives right down near where we grew up. Awesome.
I told you, my mom's biggest accomplishment is me and my brother.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and like, you know, just the way the society went, it's like, especially as men, you're like, what are you doing? You gotta, like, you have to be making more than the next guy. Are you working hard enough? Like, what are you doing just hanging out? Go fuck, you know what I mean? Like, no, hang out with your wife and fucking watch a movie if you need to. You know what I mean? Do whatever the fuck you want. How about that? You know, like, this is where I'm at. Like, and you can hear I'm on each side of it. I want to work and I want to make money and provide, you know? But I do believe that the true answer to happiness is somewhere in that middle, where you're proud of yourself and you're taking care of your family and your loved ones, but you're also present. You're also present there and you're enjoying your life day in and day out. You don't need to have tangible wins to say it was a good day. You know what I mean? That's where we're at. Very long-winded answer.
Write that down.
That'll be a fucking novella.
I think a lot of it comes from perspective too, right? Because as you get older, especially us, we've gained a lot of perspective. We've seen we've seen the entire country. We've met a lot of people. We shook a lot of hands. And I think by meeting so many people and by seeing the entire country, we've gained a lot of perspective. A lot of people, a lot of like close friends to me, even my brother, people I know, like when they got in like a little bit of a rut, they went on a fucking road trip. They just traveled for like 5-6 weeks with no intention other than to just be by yourself, see the world or see the country.
Couldn't be more spot on.
And by gaining that perspective, by seeing all these different places, by meeting all these different people, by being by yourself for so much, you start to really get perspective. And you're talking about being on that frequency that you need to be on to attract all these good things to you. It ended up happening to all those people. So if I'm going to give any advice, I'm not saying go out and do that, but if you have the opportunity to do it, you should definitely try doing something like that.
Me and Blue have talked about this. Traveling, wow.
I mean, we've been doing it the past year plus, and like, look at the perspective we've gained just off
Oh my
the bat.
God, so much. I'm a different person in
Who
a
can
year.
say they've lived in 7 different states in a year? Like, no one.
Yeah, but like, dude, just being around new people, going to new places, seeing new things, it just changes you. It changes you in the best way, and it can really help you internalize and digest a lot of the issues you have in your bubble, in that bubble that you're living in. Because we all live in our own worlds, in our own bubbles, you know? And when you get outside of that and you change up and your brain's like taking in all these new experiences, it really can do wonders, you know? It can. I would totally recommend that. It's a good point.
Yeah, I just feel like a lot of people's thought processes are fucked up because they're trapped in the same bubble their whole life.
Oh, I gotta go to work.
I know, you know what I mean? It's like their short-term issues become like their whole livelihood.
Yeah. And the reason this is such a roundabout answer, because like we're just talking about it in general. There is no answer.
No.
I go towards the ideology in my answer because I'm just saying, like, look, work on yourself, work on being present, work on literally making yourself as happy and as free as you can with your decisions and just being, and that doesn't mean like short-term desires necessarily, you know what I mean? But like, that's the type of shit that's gonna make you be like, oh yeah, let's get in the car and we'll fucking go on a road trip. And then who knows what happens? Who knows what you see, who you meet, you know? That's really where it is. But it is a case-by-case thing. Number one thing is getting in tune with yourself.
Teamwork, science, diversity, equality, family, friendship, nature, the environment, America, patriotism. OnlySteves.com. We man, we need to get some fucking females on here, huh? I think there was one girl that messaged me. A lot of dudes on this podcast.
Hey, it's like I always say it's like a men's it's like men's therapy.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Hey, it is what it is.
I think I might have the worst speakerphone in the game.
Why is it so bad?
I don't know.
Why is it so quiet?
I don't know. Come on, only girl, come on.
Hello.
Hey, is this Madison?
It is. How's it going?
John Kilmer, you're on the air.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good. You were actually, of all the numbers we got, you were the only female that answered.
Yeah.
Oh, let's freaking go.
Yeah, it's possible you're the only female listener of this entire podcast.
Oh, I love it. You know, honestly, let's go that I'm even physically awake right now. So props to me.
Do you even listen to the podcast or do you just answer the message?
50-50. Depends on the day you catch me.
But you've listened to one episode at least.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I needed to hear. Thanks for being awake. Where are you calling from?
You know, the great city of Dallas.
Dallas. Yeehaw. All right. We had an album release party there not too long ago. You weren't there, were you?
No, I was not. Was it at Backyard?
It started at Backyard and then it went to Bottle Blonde, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you love to see it. What a place.
What a place.
I actually just did No Alcohol November and somehow ended up there, and it was quite a time.
Then it was Alcohol November.
No, I actually stuck to my word, but it wasn't one of my favorite evenings, I'll say that.
So you made it a whole 30 days without drinking?
I actually made it 35 days.
35. Well, you know, someone next to me right here made it 29 days without drinking.
I've seen better.
He couldn't quite hit the 30-day mark.
Very, very telling of who I am.
We can't all be champs. It's fine.
I know. Well, hey, I have this brave soul right next to me. His name's Mike. I'm going to pass the phone over to him.
Awesome.
Don't sound too excited.
Be a little more enthusiastic than that, please.
I realized at first that I was like, that didn't sound happy or excited whatsoever.
You didn't sound a whole lot excited, but I'm going to pass the phone regardless.
There wasn't much excitement there. Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Awesome.
I'm good. So wait, you did. What was the reasoning for the no drinks November? Was it because you sent yourself into a downward spiral like myself, or was just doing it for general health reasons?
Yeah, I think part of it was just to work on self-discipline. I don't know if you've heard of 75 Hard.
Yeah.
But me and a group of friends are going to start that in January. So just one of those things where I'm like, I don't want to physically shock myself with a bunch of things starting in January. So how can I kind of start that now?
Yeah. I love that.
You know, get myself in a healthy place too. And just like when I say I'm going to do something, I'd rather like stick to it and actually do it.
Yeah, I mean that's
fucking right.
That's the fucking way. I can't say the same. Actually, yeah. So it's been about 36 days. I've drank twice. I made it 29 days, and then fucking Baker calls me. Baker calls me on the plane to Scottsdale, and he's like, "Look, I know you've been sober, but we're drinking.
You don't say no to Baker.
We're having a drink tonight." So we went to dinner and had drinks, and then that snowballed into a night out at the bar, and then till 7 a.m. in the studio. That's either here nor there. But yeah, no, I don't know if you saw the episode. I was on like a birthday bender, and it was just like too much. So I just felt disgusted with myself and needed to do it. But I will say, that was like kind of exactly how I feel. I feel like that's a good feeling when you kind of you make a finite decision and you're like, fuck it, I'm doing this, and you do it. It's really rewarding in multiple ways. But I mean, I felt really good about 2 weeks into it. Like just being present, and like if you're not you don't have days where you're hungover, you feel like you have kind of lost days. And it's been really dope. I'm gonna continue. I'm back on it. I'll probably go another 30 days and just kind of. The only thing is like you just don't want to miss out on life, you know. So like I try to be able to balance it, but I kind of find myself like every time I'm doing anything, whether it's a diet or drinking or whatever or smoking, like playing the middle ground too much is kind of how you never get really anything done. You know what I mean? So sometimes you have to bully yourself into it and actually do it. So you're doing it with like a group of friends at the top of the year?
Yeah, starting January 1st.
So are you newly health conscious, or is this kind of your vibe in general?
No, not really. I guess I've been doing it for a long time. I mean, I grew up like my mom is very particular about the way she eats and very healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Every time she watches my dog, she's like, "How many peas can I give him?" I was like, "I don't know. Is there a number that like animals can have of that kind of stuff?"
Yeah. So you grew up with that kind of that environment, just like watching, eating healthy, that type of shit.
Yeah. I think more as I got older and like going through college and all of that is when I started like truly enjoying like working out. I started doing half marathons twice a year and stuff like that.
Yeah, so you're like a very health conscious person.
Yeah, you can do stuff like that until you tear a hamstring and break a toe, and then
how'd that happen?
The hamstring, I was intoxicated and I did the jump splits, and then a year later
And you just pulled the hammy straight up on a jump split?
It was a straight tear. I mean, I had to go to therapy. It was incredible.
Wow.
That's hot.
And then the toe, this
So
past,
hot.
what is it, Memorial Day, I was on a yacht called the Naughty Time. And that's the only,
Yep.
those are the only details that anyone that was on that boat
Naughty Time. Love that. Well, I mean, it sounds like good reason to go 75 hard when you keep getting injured every time you're drunk.
I have a bevy of questions.
I love that. Well, nice.
When it's your own fault, you can't even
Yeah, for sure. That's when you make those decisions. I was just disgusted with myself. I'm like, all right, it's my fault. I'm doing this. That's how it is.
Yeah.
Where are you?
Curiosity, whenever you started, or like whenever you went out for like your first time after your like 29 days, how did you feel like the next day?
Well, I stayed up to the next day more or less. But no, it's weird because it's kind of a fucked up thing because I can be very productive when I'm fucked up. In my line of work, you know what I mean, making music. Not so much the business side, but the music, you know. So yeah, like a lot of times I kind of offset it because I do make some good ideas like when I'm in those funny states, you know. But yeah, next day I was wearing it, and then I was kind of like I kind of accepted it and like made a joke of it, like because I did want to do 30 days and I made it legitimately 29 on the dot. Like I needed 24 more hours on the dot and I just folded. But yeah, you know, like I said, I kind of wanted to continue. So I did get one more night in. I took a day off. I went out again, and then I was like, I'm gonna do another 30 probably, and I'm gonna try to be as healthy as I can until tour, because tour is very hard on the body, and you know, just saving my bullets. And yeah, I just like the way I feel. I'm working on my body and shit, and I feel like when you're working on your body and then you go out and poison yourself and drink the amount that I drink, kind of completely offsets it. So it's one of those things where I just want to put it all together for a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I feel that. I would say, at least for me, so it was like this past Friday was my first time drinking, and I went to like a birthday dinner, and I only had like 2 drinks, and then I was asleep like by probably like 10 o'clock, and I was like, okay, what, you know,
yeah,
easing my way back in. But then Saturday I was like, you know what, I'm gonna send it. Like, I'm putting this in full send, like, you know, let's go. And then the next day, first off, I ended up having to stay the night in my friend's guest bedroom.
Respect it. Where are you from? Where are you?
Dallas. She just said.
Oh, Dallas. So you go down to. You went to.
You remember? I just told you.
Yeah, I did.
I'm kidding.
So
Yeah.
where were you at? Bottle Blonde, that whole vibe down there?
No. Have you ever heard of Stan's Blue Note?
Nah.
Sure haven't.
It's like a dive bar out here. It's been around since like the 50s.
Sounds kind of dope.
You know, next time you're out here, give Stan's a visit. It's not very cute, but cheap drinks.
I like my bars ugly. Nice ugly bars where a lot of the
bars, like I like my girls cute.
Overweight.
Yeah, exactly. Overserved.
At their place, we both have Bernie doodles that like are a month apart, and so I always bring my dog over, and so
love it.
We just staying there, and I'll get to something else in a second. But yeah, the next day I woke up and I was like, shit, like I haven't felt like this in so long.
Yeah.
That like Sunday first, I like didn't get anything accomplished until at least 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And by that point, like, you know, for me, I like to get my week started. I'm like, I need to meal prep, you know, I need to do this or this. And so not doing like any of that offset my whole week, but also for some reason just gave me like this feeling of anxiety that Sunday where I was like, why do I feel like so anxious right now? I was like, it's not like I even did anything bad, but it is interesting when, you know, you take a step back and then you go back to like, I don't even want to say old ways, but like, you know, just like the way that you feel after like,
right.
Time away.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I saw a quote about like judging yourself, you know, we're kind of always, if you're kind of just, you're living your life, right? So like all you know is where you are now and what you're doing. And it's like, you lose sight of the growth made, because you're kind of like, progress is like, if you look at the chart of progress, like there's tons of ups and downs, but it's a general upward trajectory, you know? And just keeping an eye on that kind of, you brought something up that is an interesting point that I think about a lot. It's like, we beat ourselves up for things that like, we're the only ones that know about it, you know, and I guess it's the kind of self-disappointment and loathing or whatever. And it's like catching that and checking that and not allowing yourself to really like identify with the anxiousness, because it's kind of like an illusion. It's really just you holding yourself extremely accountable, you know, which, you know, to my point, if you zoom out and you look 5 years back, like you weren't even thinking about this, you know, or at least I know I wasn't. And it's kind of like not a hack, but like a nice way of at least being like, I work, that's how I work through like any anxiety I have of, you know, not necessarily staying on schedule on something, or, you know, doing, you know, getting fucked up and not feeling good for a day or two. It's kind of the ebbs and flows of life, you know, and if you don't judge yourself too much, it actually makes it just easier to bounce back. It's crazy how much we judge ourselves so aggressively, but if it was someone else we loved, like if your sister or your best friend, you'd tell them like, it's all good, you know, just relax, like that kind of vibe, you know? So I feel like that's an interesting point. It really is. I feel like everyone who parties or really does anything that's disappointing to themselves can identify with that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think too, just like, you know, everyone does things for different reasons. And for me, you know, I'm like at this point in life, I'm 26 and I'm just trying to, you know, continue growing as a person and, you know, seeing what that is to help me move forward.
Yeah.
And I actually have a wave tattoo on my foot.
Mm-hmm.
And it has multiple different meanings for me. But one of the things, you know, that I've told people is, you know, the ocean is one of my happy places. And when you go there, obviously, you know, with the waves, there's high points and low points. And I know that this, you know, you have like you're seeing the highs, but I'm like, it's, you know, whenever you're looking for me, like at the ocean, I'm like, no matter at what point it's in, like, I think it's beautiful. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's like reminding myself to find beauty in like my highs. I love that.
I love that. The tide goes in, the tide comes out. You know, life is just one big yin and yang. And really, like, it sounds super cliche, but it really is like one of the universal truths. Without the sun, you know, without the rain, the sun becomes whatever, you know, or the clouds, like overcast days. And, you know, like it really, without nothingness, like the tree, we can't exist. We need the empty space, you know, like that's on a real spiritual level, but you need both. You need both. And it is beautiful. And you're right. I think that's really dope. And it's something to keep in mind. It's really something to keep in mind for anyone listening. It's just like everyone has those days where they hate themselves. That's okay. But you don't have to identify with them. You don't have to like, you know, really absorb those feelings. You can kind of observe them and let them pass. And it's really just kind of an illusion in your head. Like you don't need to be perfect. Life is not about staying on schedule and doing everything that you thought you were supposed to do. It's about being free, being in the water, let the water take you, you know, that type of vibe.
Exactly. And this, on a less serious note.
That's our TED Talk for today.
I know that both of you guys rock mullets, correct?
Facts.
I was going to say that my dog Finley, he doesn't currently, but he also, during his summer cut season, rocks a mullet.
Wow.
The dog had a mullet?
What kind of dog is it?
He is a Bernie Doodle, but I learned the hard way. It was his first ever summer cut. He just turned 1 year old. Mm-hmm. To be very specific what you ask for when you get your dog groomed, because if you go in and say, I want my dog to have a mullet, and show them the only photo that you can find of another dog on the internet with a mullet, they're going to come out looking nothing like you expected them to.
Right.
But they will indeed have a mullet.
We're gonna need that photo.
Steve got groomed today, actually.
Yeah. Steve got a haircut today. He's looking good.
I'll send y'all his photo and stuff.
So you made the conscious decision to go ahead and give your dog a mullet, and I think that says a lot about you in the best way.
me and my friend, that's two of our favorite things is mullets and mustaches. If we see a guy with a nice mustache out, which sometimes you get good responses and sometimes you don't, but you say, hey, how much you charge to ride that thing?
I love that. Kilmer's got a good mustache on him. I don't know. I'm gonna pass the phone over there.
Hold on. Sorry. Speaking of someone who's had a mullet and a mustache in the past year, not at the same time, unfortunately, but that could change. And I hate to get more like on a serious note again because we were just so casual. But what are you wearing right now?
Well,
He actually wants the answer too.
not pants.
Sorry, what'd you say?
I said not pants.
Whoa!
Oh wow.
What's up?
Is it laundry day? We talking about some granny panties or what?
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but it's much more comfortable to sleep without clothes than it is to sleep with
Fact.
clothes.
Preach, girl, preach.
And, I wasn't totally expecting that I'd actually get a phone call. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to, be ready for bed. And then if I get a call, then, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a very visual person. As you know, I'm a videographer. I just gotta imagine these things. I have a wild imagination.
You're like, I'm imagining it right now. If it helps you imagine, I have a smiley face ass tat.
Whoa!
Yes, 3.
Wow.
Yeah,
I like your style. Mullets and smiley face ass tats.
That's what a coincidence, because your ass makes me really happy. I've had too much wine. I gotta stop.
I'm checking out of this.
for you.
We're gonna get sued or something. We're gonna. This whole thing's gonna get taken down.
If anyone that knows me hears this, it's not me.
Well, you can be. We can blur your identity.
It's not a crime. It's not a crime to sleep
I don't
naked.
even think I said my name, but we'll be fine.
We'll be fine. We should just end this now before we get in trouble. But thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Bye.
Yeah. Of course, y'all have a good night.
You too.
Sleep tight.
Bye.
My God.
You gonna go to her profile and check her out, or what? Is that where you're headed?
No. That literally was the only girl that answered. Everyone
It's
else.
a real laid back group tonight. Just real casual.
Real casual group.
Just casual conversation. That was good dialogue.
No, it was good. I'm glad you could communicate with someone who also just went sober for 35 days.
Kicked my ass.
Just couldn't make it to 30.
Couldn't do it.
I realized that for you being a musician and having a podcast, we never talk about music, really. Pretty much never.
Yeah.
Throughout your career, the music industry obviously has changed dramatically as far as the way you distribute music, the way you put it out, the whole business in general. I'm not even going to preface this. I just want to know your thoughts on streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple. As a musician, what are your views on them? You're not gonna
like my answer.
No, because I'm very impartial. I see it both ways. But I just want to know what you think.
I saw that going viral. The guy who started Spotify was worth $4 billion, and obviously makes a lot more money than really anyone in the music industry. I say he deserves it.
Yeah, I'm not here to bash, because the way I see it, and I still want to get your input on it, but the way I see it is right now, as a consumer, music's never been better. As a consumer,
as an artist too, man. I get it, right? The streams and there's definitely a dialogue. I think my dialogue is really against the labels.
Right, I agree with that.
These guys changed music forever. They changed the relationship between music and the listeners forever. They changed the possibilities for artists forever. They changed the entire dynamic. There was such an unbelievably corrupt, gate-kept way that amazing musicians didn't have a voice, weren't even able to put their music out. Mm-hmm. These guys changed that forever and gave people access. Music saves people's lives. And this model, say you didn't have money to go buy the album you wanted. Granted, you're still paying a month, you pay whatever, but it's you have access to all the music in the world. ever evolving fucking crates full of music forever and ever. And it's just like, it really is revolutionary, and it's a revolutionary model and idea and execution, you know? So I actually think he deserves that, because like, think about the lives impacted, like the artist lives impacted. It's slowly, this streaming slowly changed the music industry forever, in a sense where music labels will become, the major labels will, I don't know if they'll ever become totally obsolete, but it's trending towards them being fucking really diminished, their importance. I mean, and then they talk about the NFTs and all that.
That's a whole different story.
Whole different conversation. But yeah, I believe that I think it's a fair assessment. Do I think they could be paying more for streams?
Well, let me put
the artist,
just so people know. I'm going to put the numbers out there. Spotify pays a little under half a penny per stream. So if you look at 1 million streams, it's about $3,000 to $4,000 per million streams. With that being said, do you think those are fair numbers? Because YouTube is around the same, maybe less.
Give or take. What I will say is this: those are streams and money being made that really wouldn't happen for most artists. The model they created has given artists such a bigger platform, such a bigger reach, such a bigger accessibility. Think about it. You literally had to go and buy the album of people to hear their music, to hear the records, right?
Right.
Joe Schmo, like these guys they're in the algorithm, they're in, playlists or whatever, the radio and Spotify. Like, you're getting tons of trickle down streams from being in that streaming ecosystem. Like, you really are. Like, if, Joe Schmo puts out a record and one of the songs goes he's got a really small fan base or listenership, right? But one of the songs goes kind of crazy and gets 10 million plays over time. Those 10 million, he would have never got 10 million people to hear his song in that other business model. Not even fucking close. Actually, he probably wouldn't even been able to put the music out.
Well, it happens on social media, but just Spotify alone, like it's pretty rare for an unknown artist to just lay up with 10 million streams and like get on these editorial playlists. Like, that's not the norm.
Totally. But what I'm saying is, there's guys, even if the fucker has 7,000 monthly listeners, he wouldn't have 7,000 monthly listeners if it wasn't for the streaming platform. He wouldn't.
Well, I'll throw these numbers out here. So the traditional album, when like you're buying albums or CDs or whatever, let's say it was like $15 for an album, that equates to 3,750 streams.
How many? Sorry.
3,750 streams. So that means if someone were just to buy your album straight up for $15, now the alternative is they have to listen to 3,750 streams to equate to one album sale.
Right. But you understand what I'm saying, right? Like, if they weren't on the streaming platform and they had like 7 people would have bought that album.
Maybe.
At that, the way it translates, I think so. Like, I really think they're getting streams because it's free and you're jumping around. It's fucking free.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to hear that song. Like, if you want to get your song heard, streaming is like how would you promote? How would they're giving you a platform. Like, Spotify's giving you a platform, and like, you're here, like, and like, your songs are accessible for free. People had to go in the store, look at your cover and be like, yeah, I want this one, pick it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Or hear the song on the radio, which would have never happened.
For sure.
So granted, I do think,
this is why it's love and hate for me. Because yes, it gave people a platform, 100%.
I get it.
But
trust me, I get it.
This is new in the news now. This is why people are musicians specifically are super pissed. This came out 4 days ago. Spotify just invested and funded a military artificial intelligence company. And they spent about $120 million investing in this company. And a lot of people are saying, why you're paying your artists so little and then investing in a military company, which has nothing to do with music at all. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of ruffled a lot of feathers. A lot of artists are actually boycotting Spotify altogether because of it.
Yeah. Look, I think this is classic music industry stuff here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's like they call it the Wild Wild West for a reason. Now, do I think it's trending the right direction in regards to that? Like, the starving artist getting fucking absolutely like leveraged by the people who host the music. I don't think it's as bad as it used to be. And I think there's a broader and broader awareness for the problem. And I think it's headed the right direction. Do I think Spotify could be paying out more? Probably so. Yeah, I do.
But I don't think they're ever going to go away. I don't think they're ever going to go away. Music labels, yes, 100%. They're probably going to go away.
They're going to go away.
They're going to go away. But this is the thing. Look at the things that are trending up right now in the music industry. You have NFTs, obviously, and then you have things like subscription-based memberships like we're doing with Only Steve's. Those things are trending up. And those are the things that are going to get the little people and the people in the middle more money than they would.
That's the whole idea.
Than they would just get. Because right now, Spotify, if you really look at it, like the very, very top artists are making a lot and everyone else is not really making much. That's more or less what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, unless you're independent, but no one's really independent. I don't know.
No, forget about like the splits and everything. I'm just talking about total revenue and total streams and like.
I make a lot of money on streaming, man.
No, but I consider you a big artist. You know what I mean? I consider you, of all artists in the world, I consider you in the top 0.001% probably. Because there's so many artists now.
I guess so. I mean, yeah.
There's probably a million artists. Like I don't know.
Say I'm a big art, but I get what you're saying.
Like you're very much in the top 0.01 or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So like anyone below that, a lot of people below that, like they're not really making much on streams.
Yeah.
So they need these other platforms in order to survive.
They do.
You know what I mean?
They do.
But you still need the discovery and the platform of something like Spotify in order to even have those other platforms.
Do I think this? I think this will be. I'm very intrigued and interested because I do think there's a revolution for the artist happening, and I don't want to toot my own horn here, but we've been saying this for a long time. I mean, even just between you and I and our decisions we made, or my decisions in regards to the music industry, like everything's going back to independence now. Everyone's really realizing, like, the business model is just really broken, and I couldn't partake in it, and I'm happy that people are seeing it now. And I think there's going to be a level playing field. There's going to be an effort to leveling the playing field. Will it ever be level completely? Probably not. But, like the Only Steve shit sounded crazy, it sounded kind of crazy. But like, think about where the world is. Like every attractive girl, or most attractive girls in any town is making like driving a Mercedes, driving around, making 30 racks a month. Yeah, well, firing out half nakies.
We've been desensitized to the girls and paying a monthly fee to see them naked. We've been totally desensitized to that. But like, I don't get a lot, but I see some messages with the Only Steves, for example. They're like, why would I pay $5 a month when I'm paying $12 a month for Spotify to get every song in the world?
Right.
But that's not the point.
It's about being a fan. It's about being a fan.
Right now, it's about being the fan. But when the industry changes, and it happened with television, remember we used to have cable. You paid $60 or whatever it was a month, and you got you got 200 channels or whatever.
Oh my God.
No one has cable anymore. We don't have cable here. No. You know what I mean? Now you have to get, you have to get Netflix, you have to get Hulu, you have to get Paramount, you have to get, there's Peacock, there's a fucking million of them, and you pay fucking $5 or $10 a month for all of them. And it's kind of, you get to choose. It's totally curated, and you get to choose whatever one you want. And I think the music industry is going to trend in that way a little bit.
100%. And look, I just think this is where it's going for, content creators specifically, but even people of any specific specialized knowledge or specialized service. I think commerce can go this direction as well.
Yeah, that's why I think YouTube is kind of fucked in that sense. I think YouTube is fucked for a lot of reasons, but people are giving out specialized knowledge on YouTube right now. And YouTube, like I told you, they pay
nothing,
a couple grand for 1 million streams. Who the fuck's getting 1 million streams on YouTube? Like, you have to really fucking grind on YouTube to get those streams to like make a living off of it.
Oh yeah.
And you're giving away specialized knowledge. There's so many smart people that are just putting out knowledge when they realize, I don't need to get millions of views. I just need like 5,000 subscribers to pay for me $5 a month, and I can make a huge living off of that. I can be rich off of that. So like,
you can.
It's no longer about appealing to the masses. It's about just getting a niche fan base to just like subscribe to you, and then your knowledge is worth something.
Especially in a world becoming so oversaturated. Everyone's a creator now. Like TikTok. Like there's people just popping off from their bedroom for like doing like every single kind of novelty thing you could do. you know?
Yeah.
So it's getting more and more saturated. Everyone's realizing it's a gold rush on TikTok, especially, right? Everyone realizing, everyone creating, how can they monetize? I don't want to go to 9 to 5. It's all happening. It's all shifting away from the norms, you know?
Yeah.
And it's really a dope thing. And my point is, when we're trending towards such oversaturation, even more reason to separate from the main platforms. Even more reason to call a huddle over here. What's better, having 5 amazing best friends or having 50 average ones?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Great way
I'd
to look
rather
at it.
have fucking 10,000 fucking Steves that just rock with the shit, and I know that they're tuned in and they're listening and they, you know, they're open minded and they want to build. Like, that's a great community and like we monetize directly off like 10,000 people.
Yeah.
Like our businesses, I mean, we have 7-figure clothing lines. They're all, I mean, when you really look at the numbers, we can look at the amount of customers we had. I mean, we get a lot of orders, but it's really like 10,000 people, you know, like 15,000 max, you know, but like it's about growing those. Take that 10,000, turn it to 20,000, you're making 2.5 million a year on that business. And then you have 3 of those businesses, and what do you got? You know, you're making a lot with a little. Like, I don't need the fucking and again, I don't really think, I think fame itself is becoming a very saturated concept. Like,
Right.
the most popping kids on people that used to be Brad Pitt and fucking Leo in LA, now they're running after fucking Bryce Hall. Kids do, like, you know, and no shade at him.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
It's no shade at him at all.
They
Like,
earned it. Yeah.
yeah, it's great. Good for them, you know? But my point is, it's just like fame, the construct, it's just so wide. Like, I had people on my deck in fucking LA with 19 million followers, and I'd never seen her before. And I'm on social media. I'm in LA, in the arts, on social media, paying attention.
Yeah.
My point is, it's just like so many people. And like, if you really just find what you're good at, don't go for the masses. You don't need it. You know what I mean? Be yourself. Attract who you are and what you want. And you can, I think the sky's the limit. You could really make a living from home. Fuck what your parents said. Fuck what your teacher said. You can do, this is like a really amazing time to be alive. I really do feel that way.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And if it's, you know, the streaming services, the only thing I do look down upon is that there is that big hurdle where you feel like, oh, I have to get a million streams. I have to get a million streams every month just to make like minimum wage.
But think about it this way too, just a perspective shift. Like, do you realize that like there was only like 50 artists that put music out 10 years ago?
Not 10 years ago, but yeah. No, I know what you mean.
Like 100 or whatever,
no,
200?
Yeah, a couple decades ago, yeah.
You know, like you couldn't even be an artist. My point is, we just talked about how fame's so oversaturated. Not everyone can get rich off just putting out music and getting, like, a million streams isn't the same as it used to be. It just doesn't, it sounds crazy. Oh, I hit a million streams. It's just like, bro, there's songs getting 1 million and fucking per hour.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like, it's supposed to be hard to be rich and famous, making fucking music. You know what I mean? It's
No, exactly.
Like, not everyone's supposed to be multimillionaires for having a song that gets 1 million plays. You know what I mean? It's just the harsh reality.
Right. I think really it's just like the streaming services promote that you have to appeal to the masses, where these other things like NFTs and subscriptions, where you don't have to appeal to the masses.
Facts.
You just have to find like a grassroots fan base.
Yeah, and you guys, like, my fans have made this all possible. I mean, this is what opened our minds to these ideas. Like, even before the NFT thing, like we pulled the trigger on Only Steve's before any artist had a music subscription. I really don't think many artists do have it. I think a few, but Only Steve's, like, now, like, this NFT thing is going to be serious, you know, really, really, really serious. And I think major labels could be seeing the fucking light at the end of the tunnel, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's going to be, I mean, we saw some examples of, you're showing me on TikTok where like there's people with like 3,000 monthly listeners that are making, I mean, how much money? Like,
yeah. And,
how much money?
In crypto, like, there's kids that, you know, made 150 racks and they had like 7,000 followers, you know? Pretty crazy.
Insane.
That NFT space is wild. And I think that's also kind of the wild, wild west. I think things will need to be like smoothed out, but there will be a gold rush in NFTs, and we're kind of in that space.
It's in it right now. And so it started with like the whole art, like the art of the NFTs.
Yeah.
People buying art. And now it's like it's blossomed into so many different subgenres of NFTs and
Everything.
Even in just looking at the music space. I mean, there are companies that are like specifically minting your songs. There are companies that are specifically minting tickets for events. There's like you can literally like there's so many subgenres of NFTs happening right now, and it really is a gold rush. I mean, I was looking today. I mean, Foley and I were just talking about like NFT ticketing. There's like 10 NFT ticketing companies that are emerging right now as we speak.
Yeah, we're gearing up for a gold rush, right? Like Gary Vee talks about this, like there will be a lot of money lost and there will be a bubble and like, you know, not every project's going to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a bit of shystiness going on.
For sure.
Like there's a lot of like weird shit going on. Just be careful, but like this is where it's going. Like your tickets to your basketball game, like Oklahoma City Thunder, you're in the middle of the country, you probably think this sounds fucking crazy. In 5 years, your ticket will be an NFT, probably, you know.
Right.
5 to 10 years, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
10 would be like, it should probably be less than 5 years, you know, but very least 10 years from now, everyone will be, you know, NFT owners.
Right. And like, I don't know if the term NFT is going to carry all those years. I think we're just going to think of it as digital.
Totally.
Like, it's just going to be digital. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
But the technical term is NFT.
Yes. I get it. You know, it's definitely for the average person, this sounds like a bunch of fucking hoopla. But it's just, it's literally so brand new. Like you're living in the age of innovation.
Mm-hmm.
Just like be open-minded to it, you know?
Yeah.
I wasn't for a while. I was like, what the fuck is this? You know, but I get it.
So looking ahead, we don't have to spill the beans too much, but we are going to get in the NFT space. We're still talking about it. We're going to start a Discord, which I'm sure we had a Discord about a year ago when quarantine first hit, but we're going to get back into the Discord, and that's going to be a nice community where you can obviously join for free, and we can start a communication with the type of projects that we're going to release. And then as far as touring, I mean, I know we can't really spill the beans, but is there anything you want to say about it?
Oh yeah. I mean, look, I know I get tons of DMs about it. There's been a lot of uncertainty if we're ever going to tour. Like I think people think we're kind of over that.
Yeah. I'm honestly, I'm proud to say that I think the Omicron was a fluke.
Yeah.
No one cares about the Omicron anymore.
It's the COVID thing, the COVID strain.
The COVID strain of Omicron. I mean, dude, the stock market like was in the shitter for like 2 days, and now like it just went like this, and all the articles are like, people aren't as afraid of the Omicron as they thought they would be.
I think it's because there's been no deaths. A bunch of press came out that there was no deaths. I don't believe anything in the press.
I don't believe anything. The press
I don't know. No. What if we haven't learned? If we've learned one thing from this year, it's you never know. You know, just like look, you got to be open minded. Anything could happen. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna tour. I think we're gonna tour our ass off this coming year. I mean, I took a hiatus from it. There was, you know, think about it. We didn't have a podcast. I was Mike Stead last time we toured.
Our pets' heads were falling off.
But, you know, the rebrand has gone exceptionally well. And I'm really actually very, very eager to get on the road again in my new mind state, you know? Just thinking back to who I was then, just caring, like, I don't know, just the opportunity to travel and meet people and that you impact and, you know, be in a room with people singing your songs and shit. There's actually there's a lot of love in the room. We feel it, but it's like never really thought about it like that, you know?
Yeah, it's not in person. It's not in the flesh.
Yeah, it's just like, but even when I was on the road and we would feel so good on tour and on stage, and that's why I could never take a night off, because you get on there and you feel that love in the room. You don't want to let people down. You want to build that connection and feed off that energy. And I'm just excited to do it again in this new kind of state of gratitude kind of vibe, and like travel and really keep my eyes open, not be so hungover every day where I'm just like tired and not keep my eyes open, like just looking around, you know, watching the movie. So I'm excited. We don't know. I mean, I think our shows might get a lot bigger, but we're playing, you know, we're going to have to kind of play it by ear on the venue sizes and stuff. We're working it out. You know, I'm with the new agent, or same agent, new agency, and it's a big upgrade, William and Morris. And I'm going to open myself up back to being booked. Like I haven't been able to be booked at all to do shows and shit. So we're going to get back on the market and tour at least for another year. I think we're talking about like 60 dates in the US this year. So
that sounds so nice. I mean, we haven't toured in 3 years.
And we're going to do
3 years.
I know we're going to do live podcast shows.
Yeah.
We're going to do live Bellina Cup tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to film the fuck out of it. I'm bringing on a team. We're going to bring back Touring's Boring for Only Steve's subscription. And, it will be less T&A and a little more Q&A, if you know what I mean. But, just be bringing back that element and just who we are now, and having the access that we have with y'all. Like we'll be, you could come see us do a live podcast and then, and we'll go play a show the next night and just be a lot of dope shit. We're going to have Only Steve subscribers on the podcast. We'll do them on the bus too. We're going to keep this schedule going. Mm-hmm. And we're going to really double down on the private access kind of that we're giving to the Only Steves. We're going to lean into it, but
creating some fun experiences.
Yeah. It's going to be really fun. I think this is going to be an amazing year.
I know you're not supposed to identify with what you do, but I feel like I very much identify myself with touring. In the past 3 years, I feel like I've just been missing a little piece of myself,
Yeah, I mean, I can relate to that.
About to get it back.
We fucking started so many companies in this break, though. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm just so happy we took that, like the way this went,
Yeah, well, I mean, we've talked about this, but I mean, there's like when the housing market crashed in 2008, there was all these like huge companies that emerged through the housing crisis. You talk about like, I can't think of them all, like Uber and like Airbnb and like just these fucking like these massive companies that emerged through the fucking ashes of that turbulent time. And the same thing happened now. I mean, a lot of, not just with us, but like, bigger stuff too, obviously. But I'm excited. I mean, NFT is a good example, but a lot of stuff is emerging out of this. I can't wait to see what happens.
Absolutely. I mean, us personally, there's just in our little ecosystem. I mean, we've I think at least doubled the amount of revenue streams we had in that time. I think actually more than that. And, they're focal, Only Steve's, Chug Bud, Stevenson Ranch. These are now like focal parts of our brand that didn't exist until this whole, we were already going on a bit of our own Stevenson Ranch world. We were already going into quarantine and rebranding and, all that shit. But then quarantine actually happened and I think a lot of cool shit happened,
Yeah. All right, good stuff. Well, we could probably end here. Any closing statements?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're still listening, you're a diehard. Hey, how are you? We're talking about doing some music as NFTs soon. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And let us know what you think. If you guys would be interested, it sounds like it's something we're gonna do. Could be some utility NFTs that access into to shows and whatnot. I think we're gonna get more into that space. So let us know what you think, and that's something that would tickle your fancy.
Yeah, and just for the record, we're not like going into the NFT space to make a quick buck. Like we're very much adaptive with the way things go in the industry, and we've kind of proven that over the years. So this isn't just an in and out kind of thing, even though I'm a big in and out kind of guy. This is something we're gonna adapt and we're gonna facilitate and make it a part of our brand, very much so.
Yeah. Like that's why we've been slow. A lot of people have been wondering why we haven't done it yet. It's just like taking our time with it,
Yeah.
Really understanding it and like how could we do something cool and unique and useful, and like I really love the idea of being able to say, I know my music's dope. I know this next wave is crazy. I want the fan, what better than, fuck the labels. Let's have the fans help fund it, support it, but also get the chance to make money.
Have ownership in it, yeah.
Have the chance to make money in something you believe in. And I think that's a really dope aspect of this as well.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, until next time.
Until next time.